Most of these girls be confusing me. I don't know if she really want me or she using me. Maybe it's the money or maybe you ain't used to me cause you was depressed and now you abusing me. That's why I need me a girl to be true to me. Know about the game and know how it do to me. Without a girl by my side, shit'll ruin me. Forget the world, girl, it's you and me. Bro, this nigga used to be that nigga, bro. What the fuck happened to this nigga, bro? I ain't even talking about musically. What happened to this nigga, bro? What happened? This nigga, like, bro. If what they saying is true, because you know what I'm saying, although I do think the nigga did it, I don't want to just say, you know what I'm saying, all the accusations he did. You feel me? I don't want to do that to him, but I really feel like I have no choice with the shit that has came out, bro. Obviously, I know a few things that have came out about this nigga P Diddy, but really, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've heard shit about Meek Mill. You know what I'm saying? The nigga that was, you know what I'm saying, working for him, grooming him and shit. Like, I'm hearing Chris Brown in it, ushering. I'm hearing all these names in this. What is going on, bro? We about to check it out, man. Roll to 10K, bro.
So if we think about the possibility of a sex trafficking investigation, sex trafficking related charges,
his son's in this, like, what?
There was a woman who accused Combs and former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre and another person of sex trafficking and gang raping her when she was 17 years old.
That's insane.
There's a Jane Doe who says that she was flown from Michigan to New York City, supplied with drugs and alcohol, and then assaulted by all three men at Combs' recording studios. Now, Combs, by the way, has always denied the allegations, and in fact, in response to one lawsuit, had posted, I believe it was on Instagram, "Enough is enough. The last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear, I did not do," and he goes on to say, "did not do this." Now, again, that was in relation to a lot of these lawsuits being filed, but when we're talking about sex trafficking, Tracy, and we're talking about the Southern District of New York possibly initiating this search warrant, where does your mind go in terms of what we might be looking at in terms of potential charges, potential allegations, and how it's connected to New York?
So I
you
absolutely
had the fans at your place,
again,
bro. So
simply my hypothesis, he is innocent until proven guilty, that he will be arrested and indicted on sex trafficking charges. I have no doubt about that. And I do believe that he was most likely the kingpin of this. These girls, what that tells me, if it's out of the Southern District of New York, is this is spanning multiple states and that he is trafficking.
Here's why I feel like the shit, it might be true, bro. You got shit coming out from 2003 and shit. Nigga, I was only 1 year old. You feel me? A nigga is 21 right now. 21 years ago, bro. Or 20 years ago. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
Or allegedly trafficking girls across multiple states, across the United States. This isn't just an isolated incident in one location. And so I have heard things as well about his Hamptons parties and things happening in those Hamptons parties as well. So I suspect more evidence may come out as a result of that. But these are extremely serious charges.
Too old to be doing this shit still, too. I thought it was good when he was young.
He's frustrated by somewhat the complacency, right, of the entertainment industry as a whole. In this.
Not even grow up, bro. You should be locked up, bro.
People fly under the radar for a long time, like Epstein did as well, because people are scared. People want to still climb the ranks, and we're doing it all the while sort of sacrificing the safety of these young victims or girls that are involved in this, and that is deeply troubling.
Before we get into more of this, I hear you, and I think, you know, it's really, really frightening to think about. I mean, I read all these allegations and the lawsuits, and I've never heard anything like it, and obviously we don't know exactly where this investigation is going. But if Combs is charged with federal crimes here, but he's not in the country, and he's actually in a country or a jurisdiction where there's no extradition agreement, how do you get him back? What do federal authorities do?
That's a really good question. And I looked up just because I was curious actually about Antigua. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. Some I do, some I don't. But we do have an extradition treaty with them. Right now, though, because of the public nature of this, I have a very hard time believing that a country would allow his plane to land with him on it in their country.
Didn't
they
say
don't
he
have to let
didn't
him land
leave?
if they don't want to. And so I think that it would be very difficult for him to be able to land in an inhospitable country simply because they don't want him. We do have extradition treaties with more countries than I think people would think. And typically they will send folks back to us as long as we take the death penalty off of the table. And I don't believe that this is a death penalty case. It's Southern District of New York. And so I believe that whether we have an extradition treaty or not with whatever country he may or may not go to, they will send him back.
And talk to me about what you think they have in terms
it's
of
over, Diddy boy.
You say they want to preserve the evidence for a potential prosecution against either him or someone else. There's a criminal case building. But they had to have probable cause for the search warrant to be issued. And I wonder, you know, I mentioned some of the interviews. they wouldn't have had enough to try to arrest him first and then do the raid, or they need the raid first to see what's at the property before they can build a case and build charges and then arrest him. Talk to me about the timeline of how this typically works in terms of if we're seeing a raid on several properties. Does that in conjunction with an arrest? Does that come before an arrest? Does that, how does it typically work?
Typically, Jesse, it's in conjunction with an arrest. But I started thinking about this a little bit more last night, and I was thinking that if he has videos or his associates have videos and they are attempting to distribute those of young male children or female children, that means that a child is in imminent danger. And so part of me wonders,
bro, there's so many layers to this, bro. But the fact that he was even doing it with minors and shit like that, nigga, he's recording it, nigga, and keeping it and blackmailing them. Like, nigga, what is wrong with you? That's just a nigga who, you feel me, got so much money, got it out the mud, and just got weird. You feel me? And literally just got weird. Because I don't think he was doing this shit before he really, you feel me, was popping in the streets back in, the days. I don't think he was, doing this before he got it. So I just feel like this nigga who got money and just turned out weird. Like, niggas started having these weird-ass fantasies, started doing these weird-ass things. Like, if it's true, that's just how I feel about this whole situation with P. Diddy, bro. Like, nigga got money and just, became weird as shit, bro. And the niggas around him, bro. Weird as hell.
If this was done to stop that, and that they will get to the arrest, obviously, at some point. Because, as you mentioned, typically these warrants are served, and there's usually an indictment that goes, hand in hand with that at the same time. So in my opinion, it's not unheard of. It's just a little bit unusual. We don't typically see this. Anytime we did raids at the FBI of this nature, we also had an arrest warrant for the individual as well. And so it is unusual, but I don't want to say it's unheard of. And again, I'm just speculating, but part of me wonders if this was still actively being distributed. And if it is, they need to shut that down immediately.
Were you surprised at the response that we saw from Douglas Wigdorf? This is a lawyer for Cassie Ventura and one of the Jane Does in response to reports of this search warrant that was issued on Sean Combs. Now, remember, Cassie Ventura settled with Sean Combs, but the statement says, quote, "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct." Now, again, in light of that settlement doesn't necessarily mean you're saying Combs is completely innocent. It's you've agreed to resolve the issue. Doesn't absolve him of wrongdoing, but to make that statement, I think that's something to be said. Now, again, of course, he's representing someone else that's continually suing Sean Combs, but again, that statement I thought was really interesting. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I thought that statement was interesting. My question about it, though, is did he tip them off? Did he provide them with information? Did Cassie Ventura or any of these individuals involved in these civil suits also provide evidence along with that to build this criminal case? Because obviously those two things are separate. So in my opinion, in listening to that statement, it actually sounds like maybe they did. That's incredible that they did that because I believe that Cassie Ventura was absolutely a victim of pretty horrific things. And if she was able to document all of that and provide evidence, then that absolutely would go to building his criminal case.
It's so crazy to think about this. I mean, again, and I'm not surprised by that connection to New York because I go back to Little Rod Jones and he said he was assaulted at different places, including in New York. So again, what can we expect next to happen as this story develops? And I imagine it's going to develop quite rapidly.
I agree with you. I think it's going to develop quite rapidly as well. I think the next thing that will happen is an indictment of P. Diddy. That's what I think, and that he will be taken into custody hopefully soon at some point. But honestly, I'm not sure. This is, like I said, a little bit unusual, and that there isn't an indictment yet, although I think one may be forthcoming.
What about other individuals? Because remember, going back to one of the lawsuits, there was an allegation there were violations of the TVPA, the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, big law aimed at fighting against domestic and international human slavery. And they were filing a civil action with respect to it. But you're basically saying these minors are engaging in commercial sex acts. I would imagine that if this is a really big operation, we could potentially see arrests of other individuals connected to the rapper, right?
I agree. I think we will probably see the arrest of one or both of his sons because I believe that they, based on evidence in cases that we've seen in the past from a civil perspective, they have been allegedly involved in this. But at the same time, too, I think that there may be a lot of people who have associated with him in his circle that are probably scared right now because they may have had some involvement in this as well. And so in my opinion, I think they will start at the top, obviously arresting Diddy or his sons. And from there, in my opinion, they may try to plea. I don't think he's going to completely avoid jail time or anything like that if he's indicted, but maybe they will try to plead to get names of other individuals that are associated with this. But again, completely my hypothesis, Jesse.
And I'll leave on this. There was reporting, there was an allegation that Combs may have been allegedly harassing Mr. Jones because of that lawsuit that he filed. Jones alleges that Combs sent agents to intimidate his 8-year-old daughter and the mother of his child and his ex-wives. So you talk about the imminence of this raid. You talk about the manpower put forward by this raid. If that is true, and again, we don't know if it's connected to the lawsuit in any way, but that's something else to think about, right?
100%. He has a pretty long documented history of threatening individuals and asking them to, I guess, clean up his mess or clean up his dirty work, if you will. And so that is not at all surprising to me. And I do assume that individuals who may have been involved in speaking out or testifying in any of these civil cases may also be awarded some type of security and protection as well.
Big Diddy, bro. I was singing your song in the beginning. Music is music. I separate that from the person you are. But, dog, you up there. You up there with Kelly, bro. You up there with Kelly, bro, for sure, for sure.